This is very interesting. For the first time ever, I feel very called to sit down and just open up and speak about being a twin flame and what that means for me and kind of my journey. It's interesting because I'm in the middle of writing the story in a book. And so, of course, it's putting me through the ringer as far as remembering this journey and being able to see it from the highest perspective, the most enlightened perspective is vastly illuminating. And my dog's shaking off if you hear that in the background. Anyway, so this is my story. I have no idea how long it's going to be, but I'm very happy to record it and to update you. So I've got tea in hand, and this is going to be a conversation. Um, I do best in conversation. I'm created to be in conversation. So anyway, we're going to start with in the beginning, God created, and from the everything came something. And so that started the process of individuation of God. And so if we like to visualize, we could see God as maybe just one single flame. We'll just start with fire. And if you take a piece of fire away, is it any less fire? No, it's not. It's still fully fire. So that's what happened because God is love and love is light, and it just encompasses everything. And so, for our framework and for our mind, we're going to see God as light, love, fire. And so, when He created, He, as in the totality, not He as a man, but when totality individuated itself, we started to see fractals like our snowflakes and whatnot. And everyone is unique, but they are all still water, they're all still snow. They've just been created with slightly different condition to create a slightly different design. So it's by design that we individuate. Well, what happens as far as human evolution, creation is concerned? We go back to the flame when we evolve, when we grow, when we ascend and transcend dimensions. So, where we were as a species, as a humanity, is we were descending. We were becoming less and less like God. Which brings me to the book of Revelation in the Bible. There was so much more going on biblically than what we've been spoon fed to believe, and that will be a different podcast episode. But in the moment, I'm just here to tell you that eventually salvation does come. Eventually, you do get to experience heaven on earth in your lifetime. And I'm very happy to tell you that this is your lifetime. You have the choice to choose. And this is not about salvation outside of yourself. You don't have to believe in anything because ultimately, what you choose to believe, even if it's disbelief, has always been granted to you. The answer is always yes, because you are a flame from the original fire. You are God incarnate in your specific fractal in this specific time, called to wake up and be who you are, who you actually are. Now, what that means is understanding that when we were babies and children up to the age of 7, we were living mostly from our subconscious, and that means we were also absorbing everything in our environment. And it's by design, but that's where we all incurred our wounding, our childhood wound. We all have them, right? Nature, nurture, choice. So we're born into situations that evolve us in certain ways. We also have lineages from former lifetimes of our ancestors who also fed into that, and how it's all woven together is a manifestation of who you are today. The moment and time of your birth and the place. That facet of the divine wanting to know itself, himself, God, going back to source, allowed his consciousness to come through your incarnation. And if you're resonating with this message, then this is your lifetime. So then what ensues is that you manifest things to yourself based on those subconscious programming. And that happens with everybody. But sooner or later, you get ahead of the curve and you start to see your subconscious patterns and you find them and you love them and you alchemize them. They were ever only created out of ignorance. None of that was done on purpose. And as you allow those wounds to release, you're alchemizing with love. You are Christing. You are saving. You are a version of your higher self appearing to one of your former selves as an angelic being of higher love and awareness and consciousness. There's a reason why you guys are all freaked out right now about extraterrestrials because, spoiler alert, you are it. You are simply everything and nothing at all, and that's what scares you. So, anyway, we're becoming more and more enlightened and conscious and aware of our reality as within, so without. It's all illusion, right? When you understand that you are a facet of the divine, that you can choose whatever you want to experience because you're conscious to the creatorship that God has given you, much like he gave Adam in the garden. Let me take a sip of my tea. Hold on. So let's go to the Garden of Eden. So, what was interesting the other day, I realized, so I read, that God created Adam and gave him the rule of to not eat of the tree of good and evil. And then he made Eve. And I just love that. I love that Adam had to have the law because Adam is the masculine, he's the man, he's the structure, he's the safety, he's the right and the wrong. He's the power and the force and the leader and the penetration, the initiation. He's that. And that's in all of us. Don't get too turned on. That is our left brain made manifest, energetically speaking. This is not gender in terms of gender. This is energetic, the principle of gender. And then female is more of the intuitive, the right brain, the feminine, the Eve, the one who dared taste first freedom and knowledge. And I think it's very fascinating to understand and know that we were all female in utero for the first 2 months or so until the testes descend or turn into ovaries. So some have seeds and others fertilize them. And that's how we also embody the duality of this dimension. Everything is made in pairs. That's how we stay balanced. That's how we stay conscious, sentient. Gaia is alive and we are part of it. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Our bodies decay like clothing discarded, but energy can never be created nor destroyed. And so, since death does not exist, we are here to live life and live it to the full. And what the full can mean is the fullness of time, like the Mayan calendar let us know that we would see. And many of us did arrive to the consciousness that we could exist beyond time and space. It was just a simple mental construct. All of this is a mental construct. And these aren't fanciful musings. This is the reality of consciousness and how it's available. So back to the twin flame, I am deciding where I want to enter this. I am Tasha, and I've always known that I was destined to do something big. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I just know it's going to be something big. And I don't know, I've always spoken. I've always had a microphone magnetized to my mouth. I've always wanted to be seen and heard and known. But my upbringing kind of ping pong balled me around. And so, out of much trauma and strife, I realized that I was actually created to reach enlightenment and then to proclaim that in a way that's catalyzing to the collective. Because as I understand who I am and my gifting is to open up and just speak from literally the center of the universe, is the universal truth that you are God, that you are here to create the life of your dreams. In the garden, God gave dominion over everything to Adam, and the process has been coming back to Eden, and that just means yourself. Come back to yourself. God is inside of you, never outside of you. And the more you learn yourself and the more you love yourself, the more you start to really see what resonates and rings true. And then, as in my case, as you keep doing the next right thing, you magnetize the right people to you to spur certain types of growth areas in you. Because eventually, the entire point is to live consciously, to where we create as we speak, we create the forever and we live it in real time. We don't have to learn from pain anymore. It's all been satisfied, right? Karma is over. We get to live the experience of Revelation 22 in its fullness. So, anyway, you magnetize people to you that bring certain lessons out. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. And this is not something that I ever chased. I just made the choice to believe and want and know and then let go. And the more I learned myself, the more I learned that I actually had power all along. And then I got to allow every single thing to be a teacher. I remember in some of my darkest moments saying, God, like, just don't let me waste my pain. That's all I would ever say. Don't let me waste my pain. And that's still to this day what beats my heart. If I feel it, it has to be expressed because my body is not a receptacle for pain. It's a conduit through which pleasure flows. And with the constant flow of pleasure, pain just doesn't attach. I experience it and I let it keep going. And in doing so, I just learned more and more of what feels good to me, to where I magnetize a person that reflects everything good to me through so much pain and through so much silence and separation that I always am turned back to myself. And as I love myself, they cloak and cover me, and I'm so safe. And this person and I connected in a way that could never be planned. It's magical, it's love, and it had to be that way, otherwise, it would make logical sense. And love isn't logical, it's magical. So, anyway, I'm writing my story, so I'm gonna unpack a little bit of how we met. It's beautiful and divine and hidden and pure and absolutely impossible. One in a billion, one might say. But the process is the more I know me, the more he craves me. His calling is to keep me safe as I do this message and I proclaim, and it's not unlike Mary and Jesus and the blasphemers. The ones are not blasphemers, but many are gonna think that I might being that way, and that's okay. That's my cross to bear. Am I right? Haters gonna hate. Potatoes gonna potate. Anyway, it's not unlike Mary and Jesus in that there's a whole narrative that's missing of the divine feminine. And it was by design because Christ has returned for his bride, and here she is, and here I am. And I get to be the voice through Tasha's tone and timbre to articulate the rise of the divine feminine. And we are all singing the same beautiful song in our own way. It's a beautiful symphony of harmonies woven. Uh, and so, as such, have been given the message to teach them to self soothe because many are awakening right now and will be awakening. And so, whether you're also an awakened being or not, it's important and imperative we always come back to our breath. There's been so many titles tossed around the spiritual community, ascended master. There's something about master that has a cultural tone of the master. I get it, and that's something that I want to illuminate and not proclaim or separate. I just want to shine light and balance the scales in terms of cultural relevance of labels and terms. We are all one decision away from being and doing what Jesus did and greater things. You are conscious, you make your decision. And so for me, I chose some points along my journey. I want all of it. I want to know, I want Solomon's wisdom. That was my prayer. It was not the least bit religious. That's just simply the framework I had. All roads lead to enlightenment because all people are enlightened on some level. It's just a matter of releasing what isn't you and truly stepping into your sovereignty and taking it back from external deities and understanding that all is mental, that you create um, as you speak, as you articulate, as you manifest, make manifest on this dimension. So, back to the twin flame journey. As a divine feminine, my role is to express my energy in whichever ways feel best and most satisfying and luxurious for me. And for me, it's talking conversationally and just letting my body be the instrument, be the speaker. I am the speaker. The message just works through me in my life and my mouth and my message and my stories. And I make connections so rapidly, so fast. It's all coming together. And my divine counterpart has said certain things, and he's a manifester. He says it, he says it, and it just happens. And so I he plants the seed, and I nurture it just by default, by design. It's not even anything that I'm trying to do. And the thing that's between that and me living it out is not that he's giving me ideas. None of it's logic in my mind. It's me being who I am. And what that is I have a dream, a vision, and it's like a tandem co-creative uh, process with him and I, and one that you can't contain or control because that stops the flow and that repels you. And so, if your desire is for union, then you just keep being as the divine feminine, you keep being in flow and you keep just breathing and keeping your nervous system, sorry, regulated because it's all energy. Nikola Tesla says, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. God is love, and so are you. And so you, with your thoughts, have a choice in how you feel, and how you feel will determine your experience and your lived reality. So if you can soothe yourself and calm yourself and allow your higher self to be present, because it's happening anyway, but as you allow it to happen, you ascend, you enlighten. It's not something you force. And as you ascend and as you enlighten, you magnetize more and more of your soul family. You magnetize your teachers, you magnetize your partners. So, in essence, all of them can be your twin flame until you are living in conscious creatorship in conscious relationship, making your conscious choices. And the more you know you don't know. And that makes surrender so sweet and so delicious. And it's in the moment of surrender that unity happens. And then we have, you know, moments of that void state to where we consciously decide to heal certain things and we consciously kickstart our own evolution with choices we make, thereby rewiring our neural pathways and intentionally setting out to synchronize the hemispheres of our brains, align our thoughts and our emotions, our intentions and our actions. It's all a balancing act, really. And as you balance within, your external balances. As you balance within, God rings truer and truer and truer until you embody God. God embodies you. And you are very, very conscious of your lived divinity, your conscious creatorship. I love you, and I'm going to stop there. I feel satisfied. Talk soon. Bye.